Hey everybody, this is Rob. Thanks for clicking on the video. This is basically intended for those who are somewhat new to autism and are just trying to pack for a trip, whether it's a weekender or a 2-week trip or whatever. I'm not going to include things like clothes, food, water, favorite snacks, because I think those are kind of a given on any trip. These are more specifically items focused on autism. So let's start down here. The first thing I want to talk about is chew toys. If your loved one on the spectrum needs something to chew on, it's really, really great to have these so they're not like grinding their teeth or, just having a difficult time. This can be a really big stress relief. And we cover some of these things in other videos, but these are basically just like, bendy silicone Lego chew blocks. They got like a little rough texture on the other side if they want to, rub that on their gums or whatever. And it comes with a little drawstring. You might want to take that drawstring off if you think it's a choking hazard to your loved one. Otherwise, it's nice to just have it on them at all times. Next thing I want to talk about is fidget toys. These come in all shapes and sizes, of course. You get this little bendy foam straw. This one, the Ono roller, we covered in another video. It's really nice, satisfying, has a cool metal touch. We'll leave a link to that above so you can check that out. It doesn't really matter, just whatever their favorite fidget toy is. It could be a fidget cube. It could be, what do they call them? Fidget spinners, that's what I'm looking for. It could be anything, really. Just make sure you have their preferred ones on a trip so they can be easily distracted. Let's move on to the sunglasses. Now, these are really great, especially in like well-treed areas. When you're driving along, the sunlight might shine through the trees and you might get that scattered light. Sorry, the sun is doing crazy things. I'm gonna be adjusting exposure here. But anyway, the sun shining through the trees can do crazy things, as it kind of like flashes the light as you drive by because of the spackled lighting. So it's really nice to have sunglasses to kind of even that out so it's not bothering their, sensory input. Now, over here you have an iPad. This one's a little bit more controversial. Some parents hate iPads and stuff like that. I think most people, most parents or caretakers who have loved ones on the spectrum understand that this can be an absolute necessity, especially when it comes to like nonverbal speech apps and things like that. It gives them a way to communicate. Also, if there's any games or apps or learning education apps on there they want to use, those come really in handy. It can make what would be a long trip into a short one, if that makes sense. Because they're focused on something. They're not, yelling or kicking the seat or, anything like that. Now, if you absolutely hate iPads, I do want to point out this option. It's one of those magnetic boards you can draw on and then erase. And Connor had this when we went to North Dakota. If you guys know anything about North Dakota, you know how empty it can be in places, and there's just miles and miles of road. So when we had that up there to visit my sister, it was a lifesaver. When the iPad ran out of charge, oh, and by the way, bring your charging cables. But when the iPad ran out of charge, he had the magnetic board to just basically keep him calm, keep him occupied, and you can draw an unlimited number of times. Next thing we want to talk about, headphones. You all know why these are so important. We also did a video on that as well. Headphones are crucial for those with high sensory needs. If they need to block out noise, I especially love those ones because they have a built-in microphone and you can turn it on. They just take a couple of batteries and that way they can hear you, but at the same time block out really loud sounds. So those are really handy. Again, we'll leave a link above to another video. Over here, do not forget meds. If your kid takes meds, do not forget them. Trust me. Those are Abilify. Those are for Ian. We don't have meds for our other kids. We try to keep them off meds if we can. That's just our belief. We want them to be, let me adjust exposure again. We want them to be as little dependent as possible on, anything really. We think that will help them in the long run if they don't have to depend on something else to keep them sustained. Now, having said that, sometimes you need what you need, right? And when Ian doesn't have his meds, he just starts melting down. He has a miserable day and it's terrible for him. That's why we have him on meds. And it also helps with our sanity too. I'm not gonna lie. It helps when, we're driving and, if he's like stuck on something, if he's perseverating on something, his meds really help calm him down. And fortunately, these ones, compared to the last meds he took, which was risperidone, and I'm not saying anything against it, I'm just saying this works better for him. His last ones made him really drowsy, and he was a lot hungrier than he already is. Last thing I want to talk about is like a security blanket, a weighted blanket. It could be a pillowcase. Alistair loves the feeling of flannel. This is not flannel, but this is just an example. It could be anything. A lot of people will bring weighted blankets that will help calm your kids, and flannel pillowcase, whatever works for your child. That's the right thing. So yeah, guys, short and sweet. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know what comments you have. Obviously, a lot of people are going to have, different kits, different loadouts, different things they take with them. So let us know in the comments what you guys bring. And with that, we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.